station.
And boom!
Common man, no show prep, no solid plan. Spins a yarn, recants a tale. The esoteric approach won't fail. Tune in, it's time for Common Man. Common man, charge the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Oh, boy. Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello?
And Peyton Manning takes the knee for the third straight time, and that should do it, folks. The final score of Super Bowl 41, the Colts 29, the Bears 17, and look at the pandemonium from the Indianapolis sideline down here in Miami. Colts spilling onto the field. Oh, and there we go, the Gatorade bath for Coach Tony Dungy, and it's Mike Doss applying the Gatorade bath. Good to hear from Mike Doss tonight as the Colts are your Super Bowl 41 champions.
He has no chance!
Wow, what a Super Bowl winning coach has up his sleeve, career-wise mind. Wow, what a great predicting how the rain would affect the Super Bowl mind. Wow. What a great knowing that Tom Brady's performance in Super Bowl 51 wasn't as great as everybody was making it out to be, and now maybe everyone else will come to that realization after Tom Brady himself says it wasn't that great of a performance. Mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're seeing what a sophisticated offensive game plan looks like. You talk about
placement, the kick. It is no good. It missed wide to the left. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Anderson's last field goal miss, the 15th of December, 1997, against Denver.
Get over it! We're happy for you.
Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Yes, I do!
welcome back to the spotlight, young man.
He's the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the north. This is the common man, Dan Cole.
Hello. Oh, there. I just needed to turn my headset up. Sorry about that. I've told you before, once I go to that big radio antenna in the sky, I'll file a class action lawsuit for all former radio announcers, disc jockeys, talk show hosts, producers, including you, tend to be across the world, and say, having to wear headsets my entire career created hearing loss. And all I have to do is when I get up to the stand, they'll say, raise your right hand and repeat after me. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, or some semblance of the truth, so help me God? And I go, I beg your pardon. Case closed.
I always love that one.
Judge rules in favor of the defendant. No, I'd be the plaintiff. The plaintiff. And he gives a plaintiff wail. Can you look up the word plaintiff wail? Did I say
sounds like
that
two
right?
words
Well,
to me.
Well, it is two words. Plaintiff wail. Plaintiff. Plaintiff wail.
Is it W-H-A-L-E or W-A-I-L?
W-A-I-L. W-A-I-L.
Plaintiff's wail.
Whale, W-A-I.
I see a plaintive whale, not plaintiff.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Plaintiff whale, W-A-I-L radio, playing all the biggest hits like a beluga. What do you have?
This is the AI overview, which isn't always right, but A sound expressing deep sorrow, melancholy, or suffering, often described as a mournful cry or a desperate howl.
That's what Viking fans do every season. Those that are afflicted with Avatar, aggravated Vikings, anticipatory dramatic abandonment reaction syndrome. Deuce and I watched the big game yesterday on the main level of our house. We were also in a home that has 3 levels, much like Rosen was. But we decided if we wanted to talk, we could, and if we didn't want to talk, we didn't have to. And we talked. And we watched the game, and we enjoyed it. First of all, let's cut right to the chase right away. Where does a team like Seattle find a guy like Sam Darnold is what I want to know. I don't even know how you are able. I sure wish the Vikings could come across a player like that. Next of all, I didn't find the game boring at all. I know many people, and I understand why. Most people aren't defensive minded when it comes to profile. And I think it's more than anything, it's really how much fantasy football. You know how the Spanish have taken over bowling and in really life itself, and they can no longer be ignored? It's the same way with fantasy football. It has taken over the National Football League, and it can no longer be ignored. Right? I mean, people like scoring because they want to beat their buddies. They really don't care about the game itself. All they care about is, did I get enough points to beat my buddy in fantasy football so I can rub it in? And that's fine if that's why you watch. I thoroughly enjoyed the game. There was enough offense for me. I wish New England, after they finally, they had back-to-back passes from May to, it wasn't Diggsy. Who was their other wideout? Booty, was he number 9? Number 9?
Keyshawn Booty.
Keyshawn Booty. And then, did that make it 19-7?
Well, Booty wasn't the one who cut the touchdown. It was Mac Hollins cut the touchdown.
Hollins. Okay. Well, whoever caught it, I guess I wasn't paying as close attention to the New England Patriots offensive drives, if you want to call them that. Weren't they like the first 8 possessions ended in a punt, I think? I mean, it was a struggle against just a terrific defense. And it certainly was more. Some people would maybe argue, well, no, it was bad offense making the defense, both defensive units look better than they were. I don't think that's the case at all. Both of these teams, defensive unit. Seattle, I think, had the number 1 ranked defense going into the game, and I think Seattle was top 10 as well. They were both top 10, I know that. So you had 2 very good and very good offensive teams as well. But what cliches are cliches for a reason, because they're generally right, and defense wins championships, and that's what we saw yesterday. Defense wins. The Walker kid, we've been talking about it for a couple of weeks now. I had no idea who Kenny Walker III was until I started watching playoff football. How good is he? And this is the final year of his rookie deal, I think. I mean, every playoff game he's one of those guys. He's the little engine that could. He's got a motor that never stops. He was deserving of the most valuable player award in that game. And so I thoroughly enjoy it. I know there are people that didn't. There's not enough offense. People want the 54, 51 games. Not me. I like what we saw yesterday. And my favorite part, though, now is after it's over, most of us are moving on to next season already. Okay, that's great. You won the big game. Okay, what's next? You won it. That's great. We pat you on the head. You're going to have a parade a little bit later, later this week or maybe early next week. And that's all fine and good. But the hit's over as far as I'm concerned. You won. What have you done for me lately? As we now start looking at free agency, the draft, OTAs, mini camps, and then training camp, preseason, regular season, and go through it all again. So congratulations to was Starchy on today with PA, the guy from Seattle that gets all emotional?
I love that one.
I don't know.
Is that his name, Starchy?
Softy.
I
like Starchy, though.
I thought it was Starchy. For the longest time, I thought it was Krusty. But then I thought it was Starchy. I can't get nicknames. I get nicknames mixed up all the time. I think the first time they won, he blubbered on the air. Man, I appreciate rabid fans, but and I guess, for instance, longtime Viking fans, have the Vikings ever, and I don't know if it's going to happen in my lifetime, my guess is no, just going by the status quo, though, just because something's never happened before doesn't mean it can't happen. And I would bet there would be people that would blubber if the Vikings won the big game. Would you blubber if the Wild win a Stanley Cup championship?
No.
Yeah. Are you sure?
I don't think I would blubber with any adult
Yeah.
sporting. I think it'd have to be my own kids. Then I might blubber.
When were you born?
Late December back in 79.
Oh, so then you have no idea what happened during Miracle. Because I was going to say, if you were around when...
I was like 2 months old.
Yeah. If you would have been an adult as... Do you think you may have blubbered?
That might have made me blubber.
You might have blubbered?
That was more than just a game.
What was it?
Well, I mean, there was political discord between us and Russia at the time.
Oh, there was? I don't recall that. I don't pay close enough attention to political discourse between nations. I try not to anyways.
And it was just the young kids that were not professionals going against the greatest hockey team in the world.
I remember we've had this discussion before. Some people will call that maybe the greatest moment in Olympic history. I would think it was Jesse Owens in Nazi Germany in Berlin with Adolf Hitler in attendance. And
That's pretty good.
And Adolf wasn't much for black people. It didn't do much for him. And to be able to win the gold medals that he did was just spectacular. Go, Jesse Owens. Oh, by the way, a closed circuit is people keep asking me, where's your brother? People keep asking me, where's Walter, the Secretary of Insight? He disappeared for like 2 years, and then people were wondering, I wonder if he's gone, but not forgotten. And then sure enough, the bat signal went out. Walter called in. You remember that?
I do.
Now how long has it been? So I'd like to just hear from Walter. Even just a text message. You don't even have to come on the air. If you just let us know that you're still alive and well. Every now and then, I know it's kind of hard to tell, but I'm still
just gotta check in every once in a while.
I just now, in 1 minute's time, quoted from a rock and roll live album, Edgar Winter's White Trash and Roadwork. Anyway. This has got a little bit of what's the name of this one?
Business is business.
Bidness is what the kids would call it. Sort of has a Jay Giles kind of sound to it.
It's got a blues feel.
You familiar with the Jay Giles band?
I've heard of them.
Yeah. They're the ones that did Centerfold.
Oh, yeah.
Let's pause and come back. We do have plenty to get to, including a peek at the purple. Something off the beaten path at the peak of the purple. Something I learned over the weekend that I don't think I knew, Tenby, and I'm not sure if you did either. I don't know how many Viking fans are aware of this factoid that I have for you, but that'll be next. But right now, Tenby's got a keyword for our national cash contest.
The fan wants to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Just enter the keyword credit at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. That keyword is credit. Enter now at KFAN.com. Join Meat Sauce and Miller Lite at 201 Tavern and Grill in Anoka this Thursday from 5 to 7. Stop by for drink specials, games, and register a chance to win a spot in the Vikings Foundation Golf Tournament. Get the full details now at KFAN.com. Keyword golf.
What do you got on? Here's what I have for you, Tenby. I would like to extend a warm Common Man program welcome to our latest KFAN affiliate. Brand new, their first day featuring fan programming. KWMN, the fan, Winona, 93.3. Sports is your whole life, just sports. KWMN for the Eretesic sports takes. So congratulations. We love having them on. KWMN, the fan, Winona, 93.3. I'm sure many of the folks down there are not aware. I'm the common man, the average man, the best of the lousiest of the best. I was bitten by a radioactive program director. Ouch! Westerman bit me all those years ago, and I became the common man. He is Tennessee. He started out as an interim producer. He's now moved to bridge producer, and now he's a luxury producer. We host noon to 3, except on Tuesdays during the college football and basketball seasons. We run Gopher shows noon to 1 on Tuesday. So it's a truncated show during the football and basketball seasons. PJ Fleck during the football season. He just got a raise, too.
Every year.
It's a great gig being I mean, the amount of money they pay these guys to finish a couple games above 500 are amazing. And then Aniko Medved, basketball coach. It'll be interesting to hear what he has to say tomorrow. Do
you think Winona's already regretting this?
Well, we'll see. I mean, I just let them know right away. Sports. We talk sports. We wet blanket it most of the time. We have a very negative view. I think it's subjective. The show that precedes this calls themselves the Love Covenant. I'm the Tough Love Covenant. I calls them as I sees them. And here's how I sees this. But anyways, welcome. Hope you enjoyed it. It was 20 years ago today. Actually, it was about 40 years ago today that I got my first radio show here. 30 years. How many years has it been? 1994 when I became full-time?
That'd be about 32 years.
32 years is what it is. You can reach us in Winona if you'd like to talk to us. 1-800-320-5326. Don't bother. We don't answer the phone. I don't even know if it works anymore. I think we didn't pay our bill. Next would be booth at KFAN.com. That is the email address, and we don't check that anymore. You have a better chance to reach me with a carrier pigeon or Pony Express, maybe a message in a bottle. Then there is Talkback. Talkback Tuesday is a big feature on the Common Man program. You download the iHeartRadio app, search for stations, find the fan, click the microphone icon on the corner of the screen. 30 seconds or less to deliver an audio message. And then there's the ever popular Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. And what are those numbers again?
64686.
64686. And then you can text us a message, and we would like that as well. Right now, it's time for Peek at the Purple. Peek at the Purple is brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. Right now, you can get a free home evaluation during the month of February. Just mention you heard it here on the fan, and they'll come and take a look at your place. Affordable-electric.com. Affordable-electric.com. And remember, Affordable Electric is E-I-E-I-O, old Sam Darnold. They're shockingly affordable is what they are. Teddy, did you know that the Minnesota Vikings were once a member of the American Football League, the AFL, before they went to the NFL?
It was before my time, but I've heard.
See,
yes.
I must have heard it, but I didn't remember. That's why I thought I'd bring it up, because I wonder how many people actually know. The Minnesota Vikings ownership group, which was led by Max Winter, hence they always had Winter Park, was the name of the Vikings headquarters in Eden Prairie. Brilliant. Then when they moved it to Egan, they just decided that Max Winter never existed. TCO Performance Center. And I understand, look, we have naming rights for our studio. We have naming rights for our telephone line when we have guests. We have naming rights for our studio. I understand naming rights, and I don't mind calling it the TCO Performance Center. That's why I do. I was even told by programming that there was somebody that wasn't real happy. It's not Winter Park. It's TCO Performance Center. It will always be Winter Park to me. But I will mention to you, I mentioned the sponsors. I live, breathe. That's how we generate our income. That's how we make a living, is through advertising. So I'm more than happy to do it. But Max Winter, Bill Boyer Trucks. Remember Bill Boyer Ford? You're probably not even familiar with that, Tenby. I remember that back in the olden days. Bill Boyer Ford and H.P. Skoglund were awarded a founding franchise in the American Football League in August 1959. However, they forfeited this membership in January 1960 after being lured away to join the National Football League as an expansion team for the 61 season. The franchise, which was formerly named the Vikings on September 27, 1960, was considered a direct response from the NFL to challenge the new league. The AFL spot originally destined for Minnesota went to who, Teddy? Do you know? Which city?
I don't know.
Oakland, the Oakland Radiators. So I'm assuming I've heard that somewhere down the line, but my memory isn't what it once used to be. And I think I attribute that mostly to consuming a whole multicolored galaxy of uppers and downers and screamers and laughers during my Haight-Ashbury days. You know, there is nothing more depraved than a man in the depths of an ether bin. So, yeah, so that's your little Viking tidbit. I don't know what else there is other than I will say this.
What year were you born? 1958.
Like,
has it been kind of fascinating, like your entire life, you've seen how much sports has changed, right? Like, I'm 46.
Yeah.
So, we've had expansion teams and the money's gotten outrageous, but like the core leagues have been kind of the same, basically, right?
Yeah.
Whereas you saw actual leagues merging and stuff like that.
Yes.
And like you went from an original 6 to more.
I did see it all. Matter of fact, with hockey, this is well documented. The North Stars and the St. Louis Blues played in the Western Division or Western Conference Finals to see who would go in their first year, to see who would go to the Stanley Cup. And the reason they played was they had the old school in one division, new school in the new division, and the new school winner got to go. And that was that's the last time I paid close attention to hockey. That was 1969, I believe. And the North Stars lost to the St. Louis Blues in overtime, 2-1, I believe, in the 7th and deciding game to see who would go to the Stanley Cup Finals. And I was devastated. I blubbered. I have blubbered after sporting events. Peek at the Purple brought to you by, we'll talk a little Viking on the other side of the break, just to kind of put a wrap on the season, and then we'll just kind of, we'll still bring up the Vikings once a day during Peek at the Purple, but we're going to kind of back off a little bit now, move into the winter sports. We're going to talk a little bit about the Timberwolves.
Oh, boy.
I'm still waiting for the people that say, well, you don't watch games, so how can you? No one has analyzed this club this season better. There might be others that have as well, but nobody's done it better than I without having watched a game. It's not that hard to figure out. We'll talk about the Wild and many other times, and the big game. Talk about the big game. All of that and more. Peek at the Purple brought to you by Affordable Electric. For all of your electrical needs, affordable-electric.com. We'll be back with a little bit.
Wild fans, this is your season. Experience the energy, the goals, and the unforgettable moments at Grand Casino Arena. Get your tickets now at wild.com/tickets to cheer on the Wild this season.
I don't know what the name of this one is, but I'd call it Pretty Boy Blues. I just like the sound of that. I just thought of that great name for a title of a song. What is it?
This one's called Born to Run.
Born to Run. Baby, I was born to run. Last chance power drive. Here's a text message to me that came into the Bradshaw line, KFAN text line. It says, jealous of those who get to experience the show and all the jokes for the first time down in Winona. Little do they know it won't be the last time. Oh, you find that funny? You find that funny, Tennessee? You're laughing and smiling. You didn't answer my question. Do you find that funny? And then there's...
Well, if you're someone who's worried about missing today's show, you'll hear it again tomorrow.
Wait, hold on. Or I could give you
it's always a great, new, interesting stuff going on the Comment program. Winona, so lucky.
That's called the negatrometer. For those of you down in the Winona area, that's when anybody says something disparaging or negative. Guess what we do? We give you a little shot. And guess that changed your tune in a real hurt.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of...
It wakes you up.
It's the equivalent of radio waterboarding is what it is. And then there was this one that came in. How about covering some Olympics the next couple of weeks? Is the Olympics going on? I've not watched any other than just now. It's on the...
It's a great curling match right now.
It's up. Well, if great and curling can go together, yeah. It's the semifinals in the mixed doubles, right?
Yeah, winner's getting a medal for sure.
Yeah. Italy and the USA. Italy, are they winning or what's going on?
Well, they are, but they're in the final. I think they're in the last end, and USA has the hammer.
I'm about to put the hammer down. We got a great big convo.
So Italy's up 1.
Should we be now? Should we have done the old
spoiler alert?
Spoiler alert. I don't want a spoiler alert every time we talk about it. I don't know. I guess we could though, because I understand.
I mean, I don't even know if they're re-airing this at night though, right?
That's
it's
true.
not like
I used to love to try to text you when you would say, I'm going to be DVRing the recording the Wild game, so don't tell me. And then I'd try to text you and go, oh my gosh, did you see what just happened? I would never reveal, but you don't want to hear anything about it. So I understand that. That's why I don't do it to you anymore. So if there are people out there that really, they would rather watch the Olympic events, even if they are on tape delay, we can do that. But yeah, it's a heck of a match going on right now. We will certainly talk some Olympics, including, unfortunate for Lindsey Vonn, in her last event before the Olympics. I think it was in Switzerland. She had an ACL injury. I guess you can still ski with that. And she had a run or two at the Olympics, and then was it Saturday or Sunday? I think it was Sunday. Maybe it was Saturday into Sunday. I don't know. They're 8 days behind their time zone changes. Or 8 days ahead of us. She broke her leg, wiped out, broke her leg. She's done so. So I did hear that. In any other results, when I click my news feed on, I will always get right near the top. They'll have an Olympic medal count. And the host Italians have been doing very well so far. At least last I checked, maybe that was yesterday, maybe it was this morning, they led in the medal count. United States was only, I think, a couple of golds or something, but I don't know where it stands. Do you have a medal count available?
I can get one.
Yeah, why don't you get a medal count while I talk a little bit about the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings. We can now actually, we could have put a bow on the season as soon as it ended, but of course we had the development.
Looks like Norway's in lead with 6.
Okay.
They have 3 goals, 1 silver, 2 bronze. Switzerland next. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's just in gold medals.
Yeah, I think Italy
Hold on.
At one time was leading.
Why can't they let me
I don't know why they wouldn't do
the
that.
total?
I don't know. It's sad, really. You think they'd have a better score? There's got to be a better mechanism for knowing. Do they want you to watch the Olympics or not? They make it too difficult. I want an easy medal count. Why do they make it so hard? I had to call Deuce today. I typed out a script for a spec spot for a client. I had to call him at work. I sent him a text that said, could you please call me? And he calls. He goes, I got to get into a meeting. What is it? I go, can you tell me how to print this on the computer? Because I don't know. He said, hit Control P. I didn't know. I had no idea how to.
Italy does have the most medals. They have 9.
Yeah. Number 9.
Norway has 6. Japan 5. Switzerland and Austria 4. Germany 3. USA only 2.
Do we need a new U.S. Olympic coach?
Well, at least they're both gold.
Yeah. Isn't one of them, it ain't Breezy. Did Breezy, I think there's a skier named Breezy.
It ain't easy being Breezy.
It ain't easy being Breezy. I think she's got a gold, though. I think, but I could be wrong. That's what I thought I saw. Anyway.
Let's see if it says on this little plus mark I got it. Alpine skiing and figure skating is what it says.
Yeah, okay. I think she was an alpine skier, but I don't know. So here's what all right, okay, so here we are. Season's now over, so now we can start to look at 2026-2020, hopefully for the Vikings, 2027 season. And I know they always play that last game in January, but I'm talking about postseason play. I think anybody that's been paying attention realizes the Vikings made a mistake. Whoever you want to blame it on, they made a mistake by letting Sam Darnold leave the building. It wasn't all Sam Darnold. He has a top-ranked defense, good running game, good skill position players, general manager put together a really nice roster. But Sam Darnold was really good last year with the Vikings, except for the game against Detroit. And I guess the LA game wasn't so good either. But he's continued to grow as a quarterback, and he was instrumental. I mean, if you watched any of the Seattle games, you know he wasn't just a game manager. He made big throws. Postseason, he played 3 games and didn't turn the ball over once, despite leading the league in the regular season with turnovers. With 20, he was very good. He's a franchise quarterback. Is he the best in the league? No, but he, I don't think, other than a handful of teams that have your Mahomeses, your Allenses, your Lamar Jacksons your Burrows I think they would be delighted to have Sam Darnold as a quarterback, and I'm sure they're excited about it in Seattle as well. Now, we don't have him, and that's all water under the bridge. Mark Craig, NFL writer, Fish Wrap Factory Westside, did a piece over the weekend talking about the Vikings, and it was an analysis of the difference between the 2 Super Bowl teams and the Vikings. The headline is, Super Bowl GM showed just how off-target Vikings were in hiring Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah. Seahawks GM John Schneider and Patriots front office head Elliott Wolf are 24/7 gridiron grinders and football lifers. And there have been several other stories I've read that are giving these two general managers, especially the Schneider guy. This is the second time he's put together a Super Bowl winning roster, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. There's quotes in the story from Elliott Wolf, who is the son of the legendary Ron Wolf, Hall of Fame GM, who turned the Packers around back in the 1990s. He goes on to talk about what these general managers did in the past and what current general managers, the best ones, are doing to construct a team. And then Mark goes on to write, all these guys are 24/7 gridiron grinders, football lifers who played the game and or started their personal journeys as entry-level scouts. They built their instincts as evaluators from the basement up. They earned their stripes and were highly respected by the time they were hired to run an entire NFL operation. In other words, they were everything Adolfo-Mensah wasn't when he stepped in to the top of the Vikings front office in 2022. To some of us old school outside observers, the hire seems suspect at best, doomed at worst. Similar feelings existed inside the Vikings organization as well. Wolf was asked about analytics versus football instincts. Here's what he said. I started out as a scout in '63 with Al Davis and was always height, weight, speed at each position, which is analytics, I think. I'm not a big proponent of today's analytics, but that's because I'm not familiar with whatever they're talking about. I'm sure there are advantages to it, but the thing I would always come back to, which was taught to me long ago, was CHP. You know what CHP, not California Highway Patrol? CHP, can he play?
Yeah.
And I think a little too much of the blame is being heaped on. Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah is now our new fall guy. He's the fall guy. It's all his fault. Much like, guess what? When the Vikings lost to the Giants in O'Connell's first year as coach, whose fault was that? Ed Donatel. It was all Ed Donatel. If it wasn't for Ed Donatel, we would have won the big game. If it wasn't for Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, we would have had a much better team. I agree. Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, I have no problem with him being let go. I believe it was the correct decision. His draft picks hadn't. I think it's more complicated than that. I think every organization is run a little bit differently. But if you think head coaches don't have a lot of say in personnel decisions, I think or maybe we can hear it from O'Connell. Maybe he can come out and say, and someone say, well, you don't want to throw a guy under the bus, but tell us all the decisions made on the roster were all because of Kwesi. I had no say in it whatsoever. I had nothing to do with the quarterback situation, offensive line, defense. I don't believe that. I think the head coaches in all organizations have a lot to do with it. But what I do like particularly about this is because you know, tend to be, I've always been, I wouldn't say anti-sabermetrics and analytics, and it's really been prevalent in baseball. We've talked about it a lot. That, as a matter of fact, that's the Falvey Levine thing, sabermetrics, analytics. Those are what they look at more than anything else. It's not any more scouting and it's no more CHP, can he play? It's does he fit into these little boxes? All these 3-cone drills or whatever, the war and the whip and in football. And I like what he said is, I don't know what that means. It's height. He said height, weight, and speed at each position were the analytics they use. I do think analytics are overrated. And Wolf says here, there's a place for it. And I've said that in baseball. I'm sure they help, but I don't think it's the be-all, end-all. And I'm assuming, for the most part, that's what Kwesi was doing, was using strictly. Because if you remember, he was the Harvard guy that came off. He was a Wall Street trader, whatever he is. And he'd worked in football though. He'd been with the Browns and I think the 49ers, and so he'd worked. So it wasn't like he was. It wasn't like he came right off of Wall Street and then jumped into never having any kind of football experience at all. But I think it's convenient to just throw all the blame on on Adolfo Menza, but he certainly deserves his fair share of it.
Could I do something that's not very popular in this town?
Sure.
I like the Wilfs. I think they've been very good owners. I think they've been very good stewards of the community. They've spent money here. They've their own practice facility, got a stadium built. I think they've done everything with a level of integrity. But ultimately, if we're not happy with Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, why is he was hired by somebody, right? We always want to point the finger at the guy who did it, but what about the guy who hired the guy who, right? Who made the mistake? If he was so bad and in over his skis, which apparently he was, and he's an analytics guy and nobody wants the analytics guy, well, somebody hired them and they should also be partially to blame for that.
And that would be Zygmunt and Sir Mark Wilf. Craig says in here that some of the old schoolers, they were, how did he write that? He said, to some of us old school outside observers, the hire seems suspect at best, doomed at worst. I don't know if he wrote that when it happened. I'm assuming he did. I didn't know. I think originally I wanted Harbaugh. Mostly because, again, same reason that I wanted Aaron Rodgers. I thought Harbaugh would just make an interesting story because he's got, remember he couldn't wait to get to San Diego so he could go to the beach and hang out where Jim Rockford used to have his trailer on the TV show, the Rockford Files. But here's what I will tell you now. Now, I don't know if Brzezinski is going to get the job or not. I just don't know. The Wilfs, Sir Mark Wilf did the season-ending news conference. Well, that wasn't the season-ending. It was after they fired Kwesi. He didn't really say much at all. He just kept saying... Yeah,
just reading off a sheet of paper.
He kept saying the same thing over and over again about, we got to get this right. It was just, decisions were made and this and that and the other thing. We can't go for it. And I agree with all that. I think they needed to make a change. But we do know now that... I don't know how much say Brzezinski is going to have in the draft picks. I don't think it's going to be a lot, Tennessee.
No.
It's going to be all Kevin O'Connell. And probably Brian Flores. Brian Flores they'll probably sit down and say, and they'll talk to their personnel people, their scouts and such like that, because, let's face it, I don't think there's a head coach in the league that's been breaking down a lot of college football film during the season, right? They just don't have time to. If you believe that it's a 24/7 job and then you can't even take 2 weeks off to be there for the birth of your child because this business requires you. Matter of fact, I don't even know why coaches and general managers even have a home. Why don't they just build a house inside their practice facility? Because that's what we're led to believe, that it's so complicated and so hard to do that every waking moment has to be spent on analyzing players and putting game plans together and this and that. I don't believe that for a moment either. But to each his own, how they feel about that. But so you are going to need input from your personnel people. You go, hey, we need linebackers. What do you got? Well, here's what we got. We think linebacker A, B, C, D. These are our 4 best college linebackers that might be available when we draft. What do you think? Then I would assume this is how it would work. This is how I'd run my scouting department. Scouts would offer me up some names, and then I would they've put together a nice little film package together for me, right? Highlight reel. Some tape, as the kids like to say, put something on tape, and then I watch. And I watch with B-Flow. Yeah, hey, what do you think? I like this. Have you seen that commercial on TV where they show the guys are sitting there on the sideline, they're scouts, and they go, show us the best 8 linebackers in football or something. There's 8 guys, and all of a sudden it's something about computer analyzation or something. They select the right guy. So I think that's what they do. They look at it all and they go, okay, here's the best linebacker available. Here's the second best linebacker. And the scouts provide the information. But trust me, every decision here is now going to be the head coaches. So there won't be any more, well, blame this guy, blame that guy. Everybody's sharing blame. There's, because remember they did the triangle of authority thing? They started that thing back when it was Spielman, Brzezinski, and Zimmer. And we saw how that worked out. It's when you have 3 people, oftentimes you're going to get 3 different answers, 3 different opinions, right? Now, Flores, I think, is going to have a lot of input on the defensive side of the ball, who he'd like to play. Because when you think about it, he gets the most out of. he doesn't have any major stars on his team. Does that mean like where you just go, whoa, Pro Bowl? Like Seattle's defense, they've got Pro Bowl players on that, and were they coached up to that? Were they previous to when they got there? I don't know. I read the story. I've read so many stories about how they put together Seattle's roster.
Well, just looking at the graphics last night they were showing of Seattle's first-round picks over the last 4 years, and just like Jackson Smith and Jigba, home run.
Yeah.
Devin Witherspoon, home run. Byron Murphy, who had a great game last night, home run.
Their draft picks were home runs, you're right. But here's what's interesting, too, is I found a story. We'll get into this later on in the program, maybe after 5-3-4. There was a story, this from Associated Press, how aggressive free agency moves led the Patriots and the Seahawks to the big game. So not only did they hit home runs with their drafting, but when they dove into free agency, the free agents that they selected all hit. Now, the free agents, the Vikings, in this, the most recent free agency class, where we got the 2 interior defensive linemen and the 2 interior offensive linemen, I don't know, I don't think it's all Kwesi, but maybe he's the guy that made the final decision. So if he did, he blew that. If that was part O'Connell, I don't know. All I know is the Vikings obviously didn't do as well. Not only they haven't done well in the draft, they also haven't done very well in free agency, and that's why Kwesi had to go. And if you believe in your coach, who was the coach of the year, and I do think the Wilfs do, and he is a good coach. I don't think anybody can argue that. He understands offense. And so if it's got to be one or the other, in this case, it had to be the general manager. And now you're going to put the coach, and we'll see if the coach can make those decisions. Because I got to think, Teneby, he's going to have more say in who's drafted and who they sign for free agents than anybody else in that organization.
There's no doubt. When you have a guy who's not a personnel guy now as your interim GM.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is correct. Let's go ahead and take a break. 5-3-4 coming up at the top of the hour. Teneby, do you have a tease, please?
Yes, we have What's Your Rank? Big Game Edition.